Welcome back. As much as I enjoy Minecraft in all its forms, we are going to be doing something a bit different today. Seeing as I am a gainfully employed adult human being with such incredible things as disposable income, I've decided to do the unthinkable. And, spend some of it. Amazing, right? And so, having just recently finished wielding the power of consumer spending, I am now the proud owner of a handful of new games that I wanted to play over the years, but never really had an excuse to buy for myself before now. The idea here is to kind of broaden my horizons beyond just doing Minecraft stuff, but in a way that will hopefully minimize the risk of me being strung up by my comment section for playing things that nobody cares about. This is also going to be something of a testbed for a different style of narration that will include some live commentary, so you all will have to let me know what you think. To that end, Noita, by far the largest departure from my brand thus far, unless you count some of the one-off stuff I've done. It's basically your standard 2D roguelite dungeon crawler, which on its own probably wouldn't have piqued my interest, but what makes this one special is its incredibly versatile system for customizing your weapons, and the fact that the entire world is dynamic, and most importantly for me, destructible. After the introduction cutscene that helpfully informs us, the entire world was created from an egg that grew teeth, drooled on the floor, and then started turning into an electrically charged Lovecraftian horror monster. We get started on the surface. I have a couple of starting wands on the top left, one that shoots little reusable magic missiles of some sort, and a second slightly harder to reuse one that has some sort of explosive effect with a limited count, and a pot of water. Each time I started a run in testing, I got basically the same thing, so I'm assuming this is your default starting kit. On the top right, I have a health bar in green, a flight bar in yellow, and a mana bar in blue, along with a running total of my current level of poverty. Speaking of poverty, this is your obligatory reminder that I have goosey mousepads for sale, courtesy of the lovely people at Eclipsify. Link in the description if you're interested. Now, the game clearly wants me to go into the cave to the right, but if I know anything about roguelites, it's that doing what the game seems to want you to do is usually not the correct solution, so I immediately try starting to escape. My avatar isn't anywhere near flatulent enough to propel itself to the roof of the cave, so that means heading to my left, eating moss and farting as I go. And no, I'm not making that up. One of the things you can do to the environment is eat it. And yes, I will be trying to eat absolutely everything. Going left dead ends me into a cave, but the map designers made a crippling error and left a single pixel of tree bark for me to stand on. Oh, the fools. I quickly Bethesda my way up the side of the map and encounter a nest with an egg, and after a couple of moments of contemplation, I do what comes naturally to me, which is chuck the egg as hard as I can, spawning something called a worm in the process. As worms are wont to do, this one seems to burrow indiscriminately through everything it can get its grubby little chompers on, including me at one point. It also seems remarkably resistant to this strange thing called damage that I'm having some difficulties outputting until I remember that, oh yeah, I have bombs and just blow the thing to pieces. This battle produces massive pools of something called worm blood, so I do the obvious thing and drink as much of it as I can, which gives me some sort of weird wall-penetrating cave vision effect, or possibly just the ability to see in the dark, it's kind of hard to say, and makes everything glow in Technicolor rainbows. I thought that this might be slightly more useful than water, so I took a leak with my water pot and filled the pot back up with the remainder of the blood before continuing on. Behind the worm nest is a diamond plinth with a passive ability called Unlimited Wealth. This is such an obvious trap that I don't even bother taking it, and since the tree is no longer quite as climbable, opt to head back towards my spawn point. That is, until I'm immediately ganked by some tentacled slime balls shooting out blobs of acid that I'm either incapable of damaging or just do not have enough damage to kill. Oops. Well, alright, that was stunningly ineffective. What have we got going on here? We have an energy sphere, which is described as a fast arcing projectile. Well, I suppose it's arcing, but I think our definitions of fast are slightly different, and a bunch of TNT, which seems like an excellent thing to give me given what happened in the last Blightfall episode. We also have a pot of berserkium, which appears to make me start swearing randomly. That's fantastic. This is definitely what I need for my first live commentary. And then, of course, moss. We like moss. We're moss munchers here. Alright. F. Oh, fantastic. We can play soccer. You're coming with me, minecart. Yeah, that didn't last long. Alright, what have we got here? Immediately, we have an acceleratum potion. Well, let's try drinking it. Yep, it does exactly what the name implies, doesn't it? I am speed. This is going to get me killed, but I don't care. And oil. No, thank you. Seems like an excellent way to get myself on fire. And more shinies. Oh, wait, have to loot the local populace. There we go. What are you? You look fun. An egg! Well, we know how well this went for the first time. Let's do it again, because we haven't learned our lesson. Aw, that's nice. It likes me. Can I still shoot it? No, I can't. You're not gonna last long, buddy. And this is where we get to the fun of the game. What do we have here? What I just picked up there is a wand, much like the one I was using earlier. Wands are your primary way of interacting with the world in Noita, and depending on the innate properties of the wand and the spells that you equip to it, they can do some truly ridiculous things. I will probably try and fail to do an in-depth explanation of how they work later, but the general idea is that you design magic by switching around spells on your wands in certain special areas called shrines. And the whole point of the game is to progress through shrines to purchase items and get passive abilities to power up so that you can kill things or something. I don't know. I mostly do none of this and instead spend a great deal of time wandering around shooting magical arrows at anything explosive I can find, and also vomiting all over the ground because I drank the contents of a mysterious bottle of pink liquid I found in the mine shaft that was labeled as slime. Survival instincts, thy name is Goose. So, the next obvious question is, if drinking a little bit of slime made me produce a little bit of vomit, what happens if I drink a whole lot of slime? Oh goodness, we're going to be doing this for a bit, aren't we? 185 seconds of this. Oh, and it's more because I keep drinking or eating the vomit instead of putting it in the bottle. That's unfortunate. After way too much time spent messing around to see if I could infinitely farm my freshly produced Technicolor yawns, I got on with the mission, which is currently to loot the place to the ground. What have we got here? A spark bolt with a trigger. A spark bolt that casts another spell upon collision. Collision with what? Presumably an enemy, I suppose, because it doesn't seem to be doing anything to the wall here. I don't want to break this open just to see what happens, so that seems like a very unwise idea. And then I saw another... Oh, we're not going to leave those intact. That's a good way to become unalive. What do we have here? Well, we're not compensating for anything, are we? A bunch of slime. A dripping ball of poisonous slime. Yeah, this seems definitely like a safe and wise decision. Oh, yeah, it just produces toxic sludge. I'm pretty certain that will kill me if I use it. And after another few minutes where nothing interesting happened other than me consuming toxic sludge to see what happens, I took damage, obviously. This happened. Chaotic polymorphine. This seems wise. Oh, I do have an oxygen meter. That's good to know. What do you do? Oh. Okay. I can't shoot things, so I can't imagine that this is going to be terribly safe to use. There you go. Have fun. I have revised my life choices. Yeah, there you go. Ow! Go get him, buddy. entirely certain that this is a safe chemical to be playing with, but we're gonna keep doing it anyway because it's funny. It turns out that my prediction about polymorphine being less than safe were correct, but not for the reasons I thought. No, no, friend, no, why? Apparently, when you turn into a monster, your monster buddies will kill you. Who'd have thought? Alright, back to the beginning. A few minutes in, and I found myself being tested once again. Teleportadium. That does not seem like something I really want to be standing in. But there's shinies. So... time to do a little bit of hydro engineering, it would seem. Give me shiny. What do you do? Can I toxic sludge my way through teleportadium? Evidence would seem to indicate no, so we're just gonna drop a bomb in it and run away. Perfect. Ow, ow. Oh, more bombs. Excellent. What is this? Smoke. Freezing vapor. Whatever. And oil. We'll just make that problem worse, shall we? Yeah, perfect. I don't really think I need to be carrying around a large amount of flammable materials on me. That doesn't seem like something that's going to really improve my long-term lifespan here. Yeah. Feeling pretty good about not carrying more of that oil around with me. There is a dude with a wand down there. Wonder if he knows how to use it. Hello, fellow. Buddy out of the way here. Do you? Well, I guess we'll never know now. Ow. Fire. And on fire. You shoot fireballs. That's probably going to be better than shooting acid, but probably not by a lot. Sure. I can now set things on fire. That seems like an excellent thing to give me. They can, in fact, use wands. I actually suspect that they were what set the place on fire originally and just didn't notice when I was recording. So, if I know anything about this sort of game, it's that we don't want to be shot, and it's that big heart plus signs are usually something that we want to pick up, as are treasure chests. So let's loop around here and fart our way up to whatever this is, and see if we can get ourselves some goodies here. What am I stuck on? Oh, I'm out of juice here. Alright, we'll try setting it on fire. That appears to have worked just fine. So we have a treasure chest with a bunch of gold. Tasty. And extra max health, but not actual healing, which I suppose is fair, but still would have liked to have a little bit of extra healing because I'm kind of a liability to myself and others at the moment. Case in point. Oh look! More goodies next to more explosive chests. Yep, that doesn't look safe. Well, actually, while we're at it, let's make this problem worse and just chuck a bunch of acid in it. Ooh. Ow! Ow! Even the frogs are aggressive here. But, more importantly, what did you have here? If it wasn't obvious yet, this is one of those games where everything wants to kill you. Sure. I'm not entirely certain what good rain clouds will be here, but given the amount of times I've set myself on fire, I think perhaps some extra water would be beneficial, especially if the game is going to give me things like gunpowder potions. Yeah. Oh, goodness, that's like 5,000 times more dangerous than I feel the need to be carrying around in my pockets right now. Let me guess it. Yeah. It's probably really good for mining, actually, so maybe we will hold on to it for a second here. That cursor does not in any way indicate where this is going. A little bit of creative mining. The yellow patches you see in the walls are gold, and it is pure money, and I want to collect as much of it as possible. And more than a few accidents involving setting myself on fire using gunpowder later, and I eventually make my way to the exit. This is a shrine, and it offers me a chance to top up my health, refill any of my consumable spell slots, and most importantly, purchase and tinker with all of the stuff on display. It is not, however, safe, as I soon discover. What is wrong with this wand? Oh my goodness. All right. We have a bajillion of whatever these things are. And this wand is apparently trying to kill me. I'm not entirely certain who thought that designing that wand was a good idea, but I am pretty certain that they are now no longer with us. Had I not gotten a health upgrade in the previous dungeon, I would be dead right now, shrine or not. A good half hour of tinkering later has taught me that not only is every spell and wand in this shop basically hot garbage, a solid portion of them just straight up want me dead, which is why I am now on 6 HP. I was originally fairly up in the air about which passive I wanted to take, but the only correct option is clearly the extra life option, because at this rate I'm going to trip over my own cloak and crack my skull open, or something. Which happens immediately, by the way. I didn't even get out of the shrine before I did something stupid and cracked my skull open on a piece of falling concrete. The only upgrade I was able to make thus far was increasing the fire rate on my starting wand by removing extraneous junk and creating a really terrible wand with luminous drill to let me farm out more gold. So this entire adventure was mostly a waste of time. My next wand discovery doesn't really raise my hopes all that much. Simultaneously casting Earthquake Shot and Summon Rock Spirit. Given what happened the last time I had minions, I'm not certain I'm a fan of the— Yep, that— I don't think I like this wand. This wand seems like it's going to get me killed. Despite my poor luck, having a wand that can reliably and renewably carve through terrain opens up a bunch of really nice options for me. Instead of having to make risky detours to navigate towards shiny things or away from the hazards, I can now become a mole man and just cut my way through whatever I want. I can also mine gold from the walls, which seems likely to be important, as this level of the dungeon is weirdly mob sparse but has a ton of gold lying around. During this time, I also pick up a couple of extra wands that seem like direct upgrades to the one I currently have, but I will need to wait and tinker with them if I can reach the next shrine. Oh, and remember when I said this place didn't seem to have a lot of mobs? Oh, you definitely don't look friendly. Run away. Run away. Yep, and you spawn babies. Ooh, but you spawn babies that drop gold. Farming time! When I do encounter them, mobs on this floor are definitely more dangerous. They mob more effectively, haha, have more damage output, and seem to be far more aggressive with their ranged attacks. Despite this, I still hang around, probably a bit longer than I should have, and net myself another health upgrade and $1,800 in gold before cutting my losses and drilling my way to the next shrine. This particular round of upgrades produces a couple of more promising results. My spell selection is pretty limited, and there doesn't seem to be too much flexibility with what I can do at the moment, but by exploiting a property of Luminous Drill that reduces something called cast delay and recharge time, which I think refers to how long it takes your wand to go to the next spell and how long it takes to loop back to the start of your spells, respectively. Along with green bouncy balls and a couple of modifiers that cast 2 spells at once, I'm able to make basically a giant green bouncy ball shotgun. I do the opposite with my new drilling wand, because putting too many drills on makes it eat mana too fast, but by slapping on a spark bolt to increase the delay slightly, I can slow it down enough to be a much better digging implement. My perk selection, on the other hand, well, Live Goose says it better. Well, these are all hot garbage, so I have a choice between duplicating projectiles, which admittedly with this sounds great, but I'm not convinced that it won't duplicate other things too, and that sounds like a death sentence. I can fart damaging stuff that presumably will do nothing to the enemies and will also probably kill me, or I can teleport whenever I take damage, which is basically all the time, and that will kill me. We're not gonna be using those. No. I grow curious additional limbs that fight for you. That sounds terrifying. I summon monstrous tentacles and gain resistance against projectiles. If that's passive, that's not terrible. I'm not certain what the deal with the tentacle is. Or dying creatures leave behind a spirit that no. I'm good. I can see everywhere. That's good. That's really good. Dying enemies release rats. All rats become your friend. That's not so good. Or liquids freeze in your presence, which sounds like a great way of getting trapped. Cool. We will pick up sight because I do not wish to die. My eventual selection, All-Seeing Eye, it turns out is pretty convenient when half of my build seems to revolve around role-playing as a dwarf. What is less useful is my damage output, which, despite being 2 floors down, continues to be basically 0. This causes some problems. Alright, let's try this again. We got bombs and splitter bolt, so no range. And also swamp potion. Charming. Oh, good. You are a magical arrow. Frankly, I don't really care what you are. You're gonna be better than my starting wand. Yep, there you go. As before, aggressive exploration pays off, this time netting me an ambrosia potion, which, so far as I can tell, seems to have some sort of resistance to damage effect when you're covered in this stuff. Drinking it, on the other hand, just makes you sick, so who knows, really. Less useful, probably, is worm pheromones. It's hard to say, though. They didn't seem to do anything, which was honestly a bit of a letdown. Worm pheromones. Okay. Something tells me that I don't want to drink this, but we're gonna drink it anyway. We're gonna drink all of it. Yep, that seems like it was a bad idea. Invisibilium. Sure, we'll drink this too. Oh, that harms you, okay. So I'm fat, I'm sick, I'm no longer worm food, or I am still worm food, and I'm not invisible, which seems like that would be the whole point of Invisibilium, but okay, sure. I can't see how this could cause any potential problems in my future. Hello? Do we have over here? Ah! Lore. Well, we know what to do with that. Playing Minecraft all over again, we are. Oh. Actually, I don't even need to do that. I could just vomit on the lava. That seems like a solution. I also ended up solving a puzzle by vomiting on it, and finding a free lightning storm spell that experimenting with will almost certainly be my doom. But I still kind of want to try it out anyway. Next question. How on earth do I kill the angry squid monster that wants to eat my brains? Turns out I don't. I instead get polymorphed into a sheep with bat wings and fall down a hell pit with 3 HP to my name. After a great deal of waiting around aimlessly, I can then wander around for a bit until I end up in the snowy depths again, and then get myrtleized in record speed by a random trash mob. Cool. That was fun. Let's never do it again. Alright, let's do one more run before I close this one out. We have bombs and spark bolts that we're immediately going to want to take one of those off, and we can modify because that is just slowing the wand down for no reason. If you ignore the parts where the natives have absolutely no chill and I can't stop setting myself on fire, it is a fairly uneventful journey until this happens. Oh, you had a giant space wand. Possibly. What are you? Black hole, a slow orb of void that eats through all obstacles with 0 charges. Kinda wish I'd gotten that before you used it all up, but okay, we'll be having some fun with that later. After a bit more looting and a couple of involuntary butt piercings courtesy of a shotgun-wielding monster, I find a shrine on relatively low HP. Despite this, I opt to keep exploring. I haven't gotten a 4th wand that interests me just yet, and there seems to be a serious power spike on floor 2 that I have no real way of matching just yet. Eventually, my search pays off, netting me a 4th wand with some sort of green booger spell that I didn't look at too closely because I was too busy running for my life. The wand shop is not terribly interesting. I'm familiar with most of the spells in it already, and none of them would let me do cool things and also not accidentally explode myself, but I do get a substantial damage upgrade by sticking my booger spell from earlier on a shop purchase wand that always casts a damage buff on its projectiles. The perks aren't terribly interesting either, seeing as I have no intention of keeping any of my wands, don't need more blood, and I'm pretty aggressively exploring already. So I reroll and pick up an upgrade to critical hit chances on the hope that it might help with my DPS. Booger Wand is fantastic. In addition to doing scads more damage, to the point where I'm basically one-shotting everything on the floor right now, I also discover that the wand seems to be an amazing digging implement, which means if I survive to the next shrine, I'm going to be making absolute bank. I am a noob and I'm digging a hole. Diggy diggy hole, I'm digging a hole. I am a noob and I'm digging a hole, and that is a toxic barrel that we do not want to blow up. So, not quite a noob, it would seem. What do we have up here? Knock knock. It's more money. I like money. It turns out, strip mining the entire level does have its benefits. Sort of. I mean, I guess it's useful, but that's not really what I would have wanted. I find the shrine after way too much digging, but either because of unlucky map generation or more likely the incredible amount of water I have been releasing from all of my mining escapades, the shrine entrance is entirely flooded. So I know I've been doing a lot of mining, but that is just an utterly unreasonable amount of water. Like, how are you supposed to get around this normally? You don't have the ability to just dig yourself little breathing holes everywhere. Oh well. More gold for me, I guess. Would have liked to find better wands, but I suppose $6,000 will have to be a consolation prize I can live with. I'm not entirely quite ready to leave yet though, so I keep exploring, and it pays off. Ooh, I see shiny. Oh my goodness, I see a lot of shinies. This is absolutely a trap, and I don't care, because I have health to spare. Thoroughly looted up, I make my way back to the exit. This shop doesn't sell wands, however, it sells spells. This may take a bit. Hold, please. Or maybe it won't. Yeah, I get the feeling that this is gonna happen a lot until I learn what all the spells do. On that note, I think I will leave this episode here. Thank you for your time, and let me know what you think. If you ignore the fact that I'm my own worst enemy, I had a lovely time with Noita and would be happy to give it a shot on the channel if there is some interest. Mousepad info is in the description if you are inclined to that sort of thing, and I hope you enjoyed.